The night was quiet, too quiet for a city block like mine. I had just set down my coffee mug when 3 sharp knocks rattled my apartment door. Not the kind of polite, hesitant tap neighbors usually give when they come by for sugar or a favor. These were deliberate, echoing with an odd rhythm, as if whoever stood outside was trying to mimic human knocking but hadn't quite mastered it. My stomach tightened. For weeks, I'd known something was off in apartment 13B. Strange lights flickering behind drawn curtains, faint humming like a power generator, shadows moving at hours when most people were asleep. And the woman who lived there, the widow, as the landlord whispered, never spoke much to anyone. She was beautiful in an unnerving way. Tall, pale, with features too sharp, too symmetrical, as if sculpted by someone who had seen humans but never actually met one. Her eyes. God, her eyes. I'd caught them once across the hall when we passed each other. They glowed faintly violet, just enough that you'd doubt yourself later, wondering if it was just a trick of the light. And now, she was at my door. Another knock. Louder. I swallowed hard and opened it. She stood there draped in a flowing dark robe that shimmered as though woven from liquid night. Her skin caught the hallway's dim light with an iridescent sheen, bluish at one angle, silver at another. But it was her gaze that rooted me to the spot. Unwavering, violet, and far too old for the face that carried it. Human, she said, voice soft yet layered, as though several tones spoke at once. May I enter? My first instinct was to slam the door. Every survival instinct screamed at me that this woman, this thing, wasn't normal. But there was something magnetic in her presence, something that pressed on my chest like invisible gravity. Sure, I muttered, stepping aside before my brain could protest. She glided in without a sound. Not walked, glided. The faint scent of ozone and something floral followed her. My apartment, small and cluttered, suddenly felt like a stage too cramped for the presence she carried. She turned, robe whispering across the floor. I am Selethar, widow of House Varen. I blinked. House what now? Her lips curved in what might have been a smile, or a baring of teeth. Not of this world. Your languages lack a precise translation. I was bonded. My bond is gone. Her tone dipped, heavy with something between sorrow and rage. I tried to laugh it off, though my palms were sweating. Okay, look, lady. If this is some cosplay roleplay thing, you've got the wrong neighbor. I'm not. She moved closer. Too close. I could see the faint pulsing of veins beneath her translucent skin, glowing faintly like liquid starlight. I am not playing, she whispered. I have chosen you. My throat went dry. Chosen me? For what? Her hand, long, slender, with nails like polished crystal, rested against my chest. Not in a sexual way. More like she was testing, measuring. A strange warmth seeped through my shirt, directly into my heart. You carry within you what I require. Strength. Will. The memory of survival written in your bloodline. I froze. Every HFY story I'd ever read on late-night forums flashed in my mind. Humans abducted, tested, sometimes revered for our stubborn refusal to die when the universe demanded it. But this wasn't a story. This was my life. Selethar leaned close, her breath cool against my ear. I make you an offer, human. Refuse, and I depart. Accept, and you will never be the same. I forced a shaky laugh. That's vague as hell. What kind of offer are we talking about here? Her eyes narrowed, glowing brighter. The air in the room seemed to hum, my light bulbs flickering as though reacting to her energy. My kind, we do not survive alone. We bond. Once, I had a mate. He is gone, slain in war among the stars. My enemies search for me still. Without a bond, my power dwindles. My existence unravels. I require a new anchor. Someone whose essence can withstand mine. And, you think that's me? You opened the door. Her voice softened now, almost tender. You did not run. That is enough. I shook my head, half laughing, half terrified. "Lady, I think you've got the wrong idea. I'm just some guy trying to pay rent on time. I'm not." Her hand pressed harder to my chest, and suddenly my vision blurred. Images flooded my mind, alien worlds burning, ships tearing through the void, a man with the same violet eyes falling in battle. Selithar screaming his name, her grief echoing across galaxies. And then, me. Standing beside her in some future I couldn't understand, my hand in hers as stars wheeled above. I stumbled back, gasping. What the hell was that? She lowered her hand. Truth. Shared. I backed into the kitchen counter, heart pounding. You can't just, look, I don't know what the hell you are, but you can't just barge into someone's life and dump your problems on them. Her gaze softened. For the first time, she looked fragile. Not the towering, otherworldly widow, but a woman teetering on the edge of despair. "If I leave now, I will not last another cycle," she whispered. "I will fade. My enemies will find me. My existence will end in silence." And damn it, something in me broke. I should have kicked her out, called the cops, locked the door. But those violet eyes held more loneliness than I'd ever seen in any human. I sighed, rubbing my temples. "Okay. Let's say, hypothetically, I don't throw you out. What exactly are you offering me?" Her lips curved again, this time unmistakably a smile. "Power. Knowledge. Protection. A bond that will let you see the universe as it truly is. In return, I take what I need. Energy. Anchor. The tether to hold me here. And if I refuse?" Her smile faded. "Then I knock on another door. Until none remain. And the universe will lose one more star." For a long moment, silence filled the apartment. My coffee on the table had gone cold. My hands shook. Everything rational in me screamed that this was insane. But somewhere deeper, something stirred. Maybe it was the dull ache of loneliness I'd been carrying since my divorce. Maybe it was the fact that my life had been nothing but routine, day in and day out. Maybe it was that look in her eyes, that desperate plea from an alien widow who'd lost everything. Whatever it was, it made me say the words I'd regret, or maybe cherish, for the rest of my life. "What do I have to do?" Her eyes blazed, bright as twin suns. She stepped closer, placing her hand once more on my chest. This time, the warmth wasn't frightening. It was comforting, binding. "Nothing," she whispered. "Only accept." And as her power surged into me, filling my veins with fire and stars, I realized I had just accepted an offer I could never refuse. The first thing I noticed after Selithar touched me was the hum. It wasn't in my ears, not exactly. It was inside me, like my bloodstream had been wired into some vast cosmic engine. My pulse thudded in rhythm with it, stronger, deeper, as if my body had been tuned to a frequency I'd never heard before. I staggered back, gripping the edge of my kitchen counter. The lights flickered again, only this time they didn't just flicker, they bent. The bulbs elongated, shadows stretched unnaturally, the very air shimmering as if gravity itself had hiccuped. Selithar stood before me, hands clasped at her waist, violet eyes glowing like dying stars. "It is done," she murmured. "The bond is formed." I gasped, trying to steady myself. "What the hell did you just do to me?" Her gaze softened, though her tone was firm. "I tethered you. Your essence stabilizes mine. You are now my anchor." "I didn't agree to whatever this was." I snapped. I thought this was some kind of partnership deal, not binding." Her smile was bitter. "No, human. My kind does not play with half measures. When we bond, we bind. You will feel me now, as I feel you. Always." And she was right. I did feel her. Not physically, not exactly, but there was a presence brushing against the back of my mind, like standing near an open doorway into another consciousness. Thoughts weren't words yet, just impressions. Grief. Hunger. Determination. I swore under my breath. This is insane. Insane, perhaps, she said, tilting her head. But necessary. I backed away, running a hand through my hair. My reflection in the microwave caught my eye. My pupils were rimmed with faint violet light. Oh, hell no. Selathar's expression remained unreadable. Your body adapts. It will pass, or it will become you. You must not fight it. Resistance breaks lesser anchors. Breaks? What do you mean, breaks? Her silence was answer enough. I grabbed my jacket from the couch, fumbling for my keys. Okay, I need some air. I need to think. But when I opened the door, the hallway was no longer the same. Instead of cracked tiles and dim fluorescence, a corridor stretched out, metallic, humming, lined with symbols that shimmered in languages I couldn't read. For a second, I thought I'd lost my mind. Selathar appeared at my side, unbothered. The bond shifts perception. You see fragments of my world. Do not panic. I slammed the door shut, pressing my back against it. My breath came in ragged gasps. This is too much, I whispered. I'm just a guy, all right? I pay bills, I watch Netflix, I don't do this. Selathar stepped closer, her voice low and steady. You underestimate yourself. Humanity survives where others crumble. That is why I chose you. Her words struck something deep inside me. Maybe it was ego, maybe defiance, maybe that hidden spark every HFY story talks about. Still, I shook my head. No. I didn't sign up to be some alien life support system. Her eyes softened. And yet, you are. Fate rarely asks permission. The weight of her gaze lingered, and for a moment silence stretched between us. Then, a sound. Low, thrumming, not from inside me this time. From outside. Selathar stiffened, head turning sharply toward the window. Her robe rippled like liquid shadow as she crossed the room and drew back the curtain. I followed, heart hammering. Across the street, above the rooftops, a black triangular craft hovered silently. No lights, no sound, but somehow watching. Selathar's expression darkened. They found me. Who? I asked, though I already knew I wouldn't like the answer. Her hand brushed the glass. Hunters. Servants of the Dominion. They came for the widow of Varen. The craft pulsed faintly, and a spotlight of sickly green energy lanced down, scanning the building. My floor vibrated. I stumbled back. Okay, nope, this is not happening, I muttered, panic rising. That's a freaking UFO outside my apartment. My apartment. What the hell did you drag me into? Selathar turned, her robe flaring like wings. Survival. Ours depends on each other now. Before I could argue, she extended her hand. Not asking this time, commanding. Give me your strength. What strength? I don't have. But the bond surged, cutting off my protest. Heat shot through my veins, a river of fire and stars, and Selathar inhaled sharply as if drinking it in. Her body shimmered, hair lifting in an unseen wind, eyes blazing brighter than ever. When she spoke again, her voice shook the walls. They will not take me. They will not take us. The green spotlight swept across our window. Glass cracked, shuddered, but did not break. Selathar raised her hand, and violet energy pulsed outward, forming a barrier that shimmered like liquid crystal. The craft above whined, louder now, pressure building in the air. My ears popped. I stumbled toward her. You're going to bring the whole damn building down. Then stand with me, she roared, and the bond flared so intensely I thought my chest would burst. Suddenly, I wasn't just watching. I was in her, feeling her thoughts, her power, her will like a storm raging through me. I saw the hunters for what they were, cold, merciless predators chasing her across galaxies. And I saw myself, a fragile human with no weapons, no training, yet burning with stubborn refusal to yield. The craft released a beam of green fire. Selathar caught it in her hands, violet energy screaming against emerald. Sparks of alien light rained into my living room, scorching the floor. "Help me, Anchor!" she cried, voice echoing in my skull. I don't know how. You do. And somehow, I did. Instinct, maybe. Human stubbornness, maybe. I focused on every memory of survival, every time I'd been beaten down and got back up, every heartbreak I'd lived through, every impossible bill I'd paid when the world said I couldn't. The bond roared in response, violet flaring brighter, and together we shoved. The green beam snapped, rebounding back at the craft. It rocked violently, tilting, sparks cascading from its underside. With a shriek like tearing metal, it shot skyward and vanished into the clouds. Silence fell. I collapsed to my knees, chest heaving. My apartment was a wreck, scorched walls, cracked windows, lights blown out. Selithar stood tall in the center of it all, still glowing faintly, her expression unreadable. "They will return," she said quietly. "Stronger. But now, they know you are mine." I dragged myself to my feet, shaking. "Lady, I didn't sign up to fight alien bounty hunters in my goddamn apartment." Her gaze softened, though her words carried no apology. "You signed nothing. But you chose. And choices carry weight." I stared at her, half in awe, half in terror. What the hell happens now? Selithar's smile was faint, but there was steel beneath it. "Now, human, we prepare for war." I didn't sleep that night. Not because of the scorch marks across my apartment, not even because of the fact that some alien death squad had tried to vaporize me. No, it was the bond. It wouldn't shut up. Every time I closed my eyes, I wasn't in my bed. I was in her memories. Selithar's world, her war, her husband dying in her arms, violet blood soaking alien sand. I saw cities carved into the sides of asteroids, ships burning in silent black. I felt her loneliness, her grief, her centuries of survival. And she felt me. My childhood in a crumbling neighborhood. My first heartbreak in college. My failures, my stubborn little victories, the human grit that refused to let me stay down. By the time morning light filtered through cracked blinds, I wasn't sure where she ended and I began. Selithar stood by the window, motionless, watching the sunrise as if she was trying to memorize it. Her robe shimmered faintly, though her eyes looked dimmer, exhausted. "You didn't rest either," I said hoarsely. She turned, her expression unreadable. "Rest is complicated. With a new anchor, adaptation takes time." I rubbed my temples. "Yeah, tell me about it." My brain's fried. "You did well," she said, and though her tone was flat, I caught the flicker of warmth beneath it. "The hunters underestimated you." I let out a bitter laugh. "Yeah, I'm sure they'll correct that mistake next time. What happens when they send 10 of those ships?" Selithar's jaw tightened. "Then we must be ready." The way she said "we" hit me harder than I expected. A few days ago, I was just some guy. Now, I was part of her fight. I sighed. "All right. Let's say I don't run screaming and try to move to another country. How exactly do we get ready for this?" She crossed the room, her movements as fluid as shadows. "Training. The bond has awakened strength in you, but raw strength without discipline is dangerous. You must learn to channel it." I frowned. "Training? Lady, I don't exactly have a gym membership for alien superpowers." Her lips curved faintly. "Then you will learn here." And that's how the strangest days of my life began. Training the anchor. At first, it was subtle. Selithar would stand across from me, hands raised, and I'd try to feel the bond. When she pushed with her energy, I had to push back. Not with muscles, but with willpower. It was like mental arm wrestling, except every failure ended with my furniture levitating or light bulbs exploding. "You rely too much on your fear," she said one night after my coffee table splintered into shards. "Fear sharpens, yes, but it also blinds. Humanity survives not because of fear, but because of defiance." "Easy for you to say," I muttered, sweeping up the wreckage. You shoot lasers out of your hands. I just pay rent. She tilted her head, violet eyes studying me. And yet, you faced a Dominion craft with nothing but your will. Do not diminish yourself. Slowly, painfully, I learned. I could call the hum inside me, direct it into focus. With practice, I made small objects float, deflected Selithar's energy pushes, even created a faint violet shield that held for a few seconds before collapsing. Every success drained me to the bone, but also lit something inside me, pride. For the first time in years, I wasn't just surviving. I was becoming. The world cracks open. But training wasn't the only change. The bond did something else too. It expanded my senses. Walking down the street, I could feel people's emotions brushing against me. Fear, boredom, hunger, lust. Not words, not thoughts, but impressions. And when I locked eyes with someone, I could sometimes see flashes of their past. It scared the hell out of me. Selithar warned me. Do not linger too long in minds not your own. Humans are fragile, and your bond is still raw. You could break yourself, or them. So I avoided crowds, stuck to quiet alleys, kept my head down. But the hunters weren't avoiding me. It started small. A man in a black suit standing too long across the street. A woman in a coffee shop staring at Selithar like she knew what she was. Then came the mark. One morning, I woke up to find a symbol burned into my apartment door, 3 jagged lines in a circle, etched as if with acid. Selithar paled when she saw it. The Dominion has sent stalkers, she whispered. Assassins who hunt bonds before they can strengthen. Fantastic, I muttered. First UFOs, now alien assassins. What's next? An intergalactic eviction notice. Her gaze was sharp. Do not joke. They will kill without hesitation. You must be ready. And then, for the first time, she handed me something physical, a blade. It was unlike any knife I'd seen. Long, curved, humming faintly with violet light. The grip molded to my hand the second I touched it. This is Vareth, she said softly. A weapon of my house. With it, you can channel the bond into form. It will respond only to you. I stared at the blade, heart pounding. For the first time, I wasn't just training. I was being armed. The first stalker. It happened 3 nights later. I was coming back from the corner store with a bag of groceries when I felt it, that prickle at the back of my skull. Someone was watching. I turned. The alley was empty. But then shadows shifted, and a figure stepped out. It looked human, tall, dressed in a black coat, but its eyes glowed faintly green, and its mouth split into too many teeth when it smiled. You carry her scent, it rasped. The widow hides behind her anchor. My hand went to the blade at my side. The bond surged in response. Not hiding, I said, voice shaking despite my attempt at bravado. Waiting. The stalker hissed and lunged. I barely had time to draw the Vareth before it was on me. Claws raked against my hastily raised shield, sparks flying. I swung clumsily, the blade humming, and to my shock it sliced clean through the thing's arm like butter. The stalker shrieked, green ichor spraying the alley walls. But instead of retreating, it grew faster, more frenzied. Anchor. Selithar's voice thundered in my skull, though she wasn't physically there. Focus. Draw from me. I grit my teeth and pulled. The bond roared, the blade flared violet, and I drove it straight through the stalker's chest. The creature convulsed, then dissolved into ash that scattered on the night wind. I collapsed against the wall, gasping, groceries spilled everywhere. The blade dimmed in my hand. A moment later, Selithar appeared at the alley's mouth, her robe flowing like smoke. She knelt beside me, touching my shoulder. You survived, she whispered, almost in awe. You truly are worthy. I laughed weakly, though fear still twisted my gut. 1 down. How many more to go? Her gaze hardened. Dozens. Hundreds. The Dominion does not give up. I closed my eyes, exhaustion crashing over me. Then I guess we better keep training. The confession. That night, as we sat in the wreck of my apartment, silence hung heavy. Finally, I broke it. Why me? I asked softly. You could have chosen anyone. Why knock on my door? Selithar was quiet for a long time. Then she said, because you were alone. And so was I. Her words hit me harder than I expected. All the grief, all the loneliness. Suddenly, it wasn't just hers. It was ours. And in that moment, I realized, this bond wasn't just survival. It was connection. For better or worse, we were in this together. The attack came sooner than either of us expected. It was midnight when the sky tore open. A ripple spread across the clouds, then a massive triangular warship descended, blotting out the stars. Its hull glowed with green sigils, humming with energy that made the very air vibrate. Windows shattered up and down my street, car alarms wailed, dogs barked and then fell silent. I stood at the window, jaw slack. That's not a hunter ship, is it? Selithar's face was pale, her eyes hard. No. That is a dreadnought. The Dominion grows impatient. My stomach dropped. How the hell are we supposed to fight that? Her hand gripped my arm, firm, unyielding. Together. The last stand begins. The dreadnought spotlight bathed the building in sickly green. I felt my bones vibrate. Neighbors screamed in the halls, doors slamming, footsteps pounding. Selithar stepped to the center of the room, her robe dissolving into a battle form I'd never seen before. Armor of shimmering violet crystal wrapping around her body, a crown of light forming above her brow. She extended her hand. Anchor. Stand with me. I pulled the Vareth blade free. It hummed, responding to my touch. My heart thundered as the bond surged stronger than ever. I'm with you, I whispered. The building shook as beams of green energy lanced downward, tearing through walls and ceilings. Concrete dust rained. Selithar raised her hands, violet shields flaring, catching the beams. Sparks cascaded across the room. Focus, she roared. Channel your defiance. So I did. I thought of everything I'd endured, every shitty job, every broken relationship, every time life tried to grind me down. And I pushed. The shield doubled in strength, flaring brighter. The dreadnought's beam faltered. The Dominion strikes. But the Dominion wasn't done. From the ship's underbelly, figures descended on streams of green fire. Stalkers, dozens of them, armored and armed with crackling blades. They landed in the street, hissing, eyes burning like coals. They want me alive, Selithar whispered. But you, they'll tear apart. I swallowed hard. Guess they're in for a surprise. The first wave hit. Selithar moved like lightning, violet energy arcs slicing through stalkers. I swung my Vareth, clumsy but fueled by raw willpower. The bond guided me, parries I shouldn't have known, strikes that landed true. For every stalker that fell, 2 more came. The street became a storm of sparks, shadows, and screams. One lunged at me, too fast. I froze, until Selithar's voice thundered in my mind. Move. I ducked, spun, drove the blade upward through its chest. Green ichor sprayed my face. The creature shrieked and dissolved. Adrenaline burned through me. I wasn't just surviving, I was fighting. The breaking point. But even with the bond, we were outnumbered. A stalker's blade slashed across my side. Pain exploded, white hot. I staggered, blood soaking my shirt. Selithar screamed my name, not in her alien tongue, but mine. She unleashed a blast so powerful it vaporized a dozen stalkers in one flash. She caught me as I fell. Her armor cracked, flickering. Her eyes were wild. Hold on. Stay tethered. I coughed, tasting iron. I'm not going anywhere. The bond flared, stronger than ever. Pain dulled. Strength returned. I wasn't just borrowing her power anymore, it was ours. Selathar's gaze softened even in the chaos. You are no longer just anchor. You are partner. And together, we rose, turning the tide. The dreadnought's main cannon charged, green light gathering in its core. If it fired, the entire block, hell, maybe the whole city, would be gone. Selathar and I locked eyes. We didn't need words. We sprinted toward the street, cutting through the last stalkers, and leapt, yes, leapt, into the sky, the bond propelling us higher than human muscles could ever dream. The warship loomed above, massive, impossible. But we weren't small anymore. Selathar gathered violet energy in her hands, and I poured everything I had into her. My rage, my stubbornness, my humanity's endless refusal to bow. Now, she cried. We unleashed it together. A torrent of violet light speared upward, tearing through the dreadnought's cannon. Green fire exploded outward, the ship convulsing as its hull fractured. With a roar like thunder, the dreadnought split in two, flames raining across the night sky. The ground shook. Windows shattered for miles. But when the smoke cleared, the ship was gone. We had won. The aftermath. I collapsed onto the cracked pavement, chest heaving. Selathar knelt beside me, her armor dissolving back into flowing robes. For the first time, she looked, not otherworldly, not untouchable, just tired. They will not stop, she said softly. The Dominion does not forgive failure. I winced, pressing a hand to my wound. So they'll just keep coming. Yes. She met my gaze. Unless we end them. I stared at her, heart pounding. You mean, go there? Her violet eyes glimmered. Yes. Together, we can. Alone, neither survives. But with your defiance, and my power. I laughed bitterly, shaking my head. I was just a guy. A nobody. She touched my face, gentle despite her crystalline fingers. Not nobody. My anchor. My partner. The one who opened the door. And in her eyes, I saw something I hadn't before. Not just desperation, not just grief. Hope. For her. For me. For us. The final choice. The sirens wailed in the distance. Neighbors crawled out from hiding, staring at the wreckage in disbelief. No one would believe what they saw, except me. I looked at Selathar, at the stars still burning overhead, and I knew. My life would never be normal again. Rent payments, office jobs, quiet nights, they were gone. But something else waited. Something bigger. All right, I said, gripping the Vareth tighter. We finish this. We take the fight to them. Selathar's lips curved in the faintest smile. An offer, she whispered, just like that first night. And again, you do not refuse. I met her gaze, violet light reflected in my own eyes. Damn right. And with that, humanity's stubborn defiance stepped into the stars.